Hello, my name is Niger Chambers of Big Gold Belt Media, and it is a pleasure to talk to you, Isaac and Sabrina. Joining, welcome. I just talk about the new film, Welcome to Redville, which is going to be in theaters August 29th. When I have some questions, and I want to start off with you, Isaac. I have to know, where did this idea come from? This was a film that threw me through all sorts of emotions. I at one point I thought like, okay, this is a serious crime here. Things are going to get very serious, and then things took for another tone. And I wasn't sure, was I able to laugh, but then I started to laugh, and I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying this in a way I never expected. So I'm very curious to know, how did you come up with this idea, and talk me about switching the tones up here?
I like what you just said. I really like because that was the intention originally. I didn't want to make a serious film. I wanted like to keep it whimsical and fun, and it was very important for me. And it's really very very difficult to do that because uh, you know people go to their comfort zone, and the comfort zone is to make a movie that is serious and all that, but to mix both of them is very very difficult. Originally, basically I found the film. I read the story back then, and I liked whenever when they ran out of town and they keep running it back and back into the Welcome to Redville sign. That's where the story got my attention, and it took me quite a few years to write this screenplay and to put the balance of what you just talked about of being whimsical and all that. So
Yeah.
the serious part is easy. Trust me, the serious part, robbery and chase and police, that's easy. The tough part is to keep the humor and the whimsical and to keep you on the edge of you don't know what it is. That's the tough part. And I think a big part of it was the actors and Sabrina, the way she did it, when she's causing a lot of chaos, but fun, she just want to have fun, so and then the other part that what you mentioned is the score. The score is I worked really hard with Chet Tolliver. He wrote the score. He's a very talented musician. And the one of the things that I told him, I wanted the music to be whimsical, like Nino Rota, who wrote the music for the score for Fellini back then. That was very whimsical and fun and keep you edgy and keep you moving, So that was very hard to balance all those elements that you just mentioned.
So we're getting that from a high level technical stance here. And Sabrina, this initially was a job opportunity for you. So I could imagine just the emotions, because you can look, I mean, for me, I could look at this and just have fun and it's entertainment. But for you, you're like, oh wait, I actually have to be serious about this. I actually have to kind of figure this out. So when you looked at this role, Lila, which, by the way, folks, we've heard it more times than enough. Never trust a pretty face and a nice smile, and this character truly lives up to that. Talk to me about your excitement about this character, and what was some of the complexities for you?
Yeah, I mean, reading the script, I was immediately drawn to her. I thought she was just so much fun. And this character is very, very different from my personality in real life, which it's also a character I've never had an opportunity to play before, someone who is so opposite of me. And so it really was so fun to be able to just really immerse myself in that idea of someone who just thrives off of chaos. And normally, when I prepare for a role, you're trying to find all these deep layers and complexities and overthinking everything. And with Lila, there was kind of almost this like just light-hearted energy to her where she just does things because she wants to. There's not always a really deep meaning behind it. She's just there to have fun and cause chaos, and that's how she finds her entertainment. And so it really
Mm.
was fun to like delve into that kind of evil, twisted mind of Lila.
Yeah, and I'm coming right back with you, because I think you have some very incredible and interesting scenes alongside of Jake, who stars as Leo. Talk to me about working with Jake, and how you two sort of work these scenes together. And what I really like about it is sort of this level of uncomfortability. Like Jake, Leo is a much of a wild card here, and Leo's kind of like, okay, I like her. She's well dressed, like I said, nice face, pretty smile. But then you're like, wait a minute, she also makes me uncomfortable, which makes Leo uncomfortable, which ultimately should not be the thing here. Like, and it's hard to kind of figure out who you want to side with at times. So it's like a lot of like figuring each other out on the fly. But you're professionals, so like you want to be comfortable to work the scenes, but you have to create these moments of uncomfortability. How did you work this out?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I think in order to have that level of on edgeness, there needs to be a comfortability behind the scenes as you know, actors working together professionally. And Jake was so easy to work with. He really like nailed that character. And so it kind of was able to bring that out of me as well. We wanted people to be on edge. We wanted people to be like, wait, something's off. And also just the concept of Lila is not who Jake is with or Leo is with.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you kind of mess with that and you're like, he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be doing that. And she's like, yes, he should. And I'm gonna just reel him on in. And it was, you know, it was a blast to work with Jake and bring those characters to life and just really play around with that idea of keeping people on edge and making that uncomfortable, which isn't so obvious, but just is an underlying tone throughout all of their scenes and conversations as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if for whatever reason you want to get convinced about potential romance or partnership, whatever it may be, as Isaac mentioned, the score make sure that it's very clear that this should feel unsettling and you should be suspicious of what's going on. And then ultimately, Redville is a big question mark that I really can't wait to see what the fans' suspicions about it, and at what point are they going to start to pick up on things. When did you and coming back to you, Isaac, when did you sort of just want to nail in that unpredictability of what this town was going to be? You know, I feel like you could have deployed it at any point, in terms of having the viewers start to question the city, the town around it. When did you decide that was going to become the big element of the film?
Well, it was in when I was writing the screenplay. I worked quite a few years at that, and my intention was very, very clear to leave it at the end, to leave it to the audience. Everybody can read whatever they want. It's like the simple example is the Mona Lisa. You can read the smile. Different. You can see different smile, different time of the day, not only a different person. But so it was really for the to leave the audience to say, is this a metaphor to life? Is this like a
Mm.
purgatory? Is this like this kind of when they run around the Welcome to Redville sign? That's kind of a labyrinth that they can't get out. And labyrinth is always some kind of a metaphor to life. So it was very important for me to leave that question unanswered in the end, and everybody can read whatever they want into it.
Perfect. Absolutely. That's right. That's exactly in my notes when I'm playing up my review. That's exactly my tidbit is that I think a lot of folks are going to have different interpretations, but I think that's the point is you want everybody to sort of come out with their own perspective of it. And I think that's what gives a lot of films a lot of rewatchability. But more importantly, in terms of that, well, what's beyond this? There's obviously more possibilities in this town with this with these characters here. Has the gears start to turn at all about what you may want to do with Redville? You know, maybe instead of the welcome to Redville, but the return to Redville. Is there anything you've been kind of exploring here?
That's funny. I don't know. I'm so into finishing this film. I can't even think about going forward. But it's interesting what you said. Who knows? Who knows? I made a film called Shadow Hours that was in Sundance many years ago, and there was a bunch of people that wanted to do sequels to it. You know what I mean? Never happened, but
Yeah.
but you never know.
Yeah. Sabrina, I'm gonna come back to you again with Lila. Did you say this is so much different than who you are personally? But did you want to contribute into this character in a way that totally took you out of your comfort zone? Was there elements that you wanted to bring to Lila that you wanted to kind of explore to really, heighten your talents and also to probably try some things unconventional?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so much of Lila is avenues I've never explored before as both Sabrina and also as an actor. Which is why, it really was such a fun opportunity to delve into that side of acting to really try to separate myself from the character as much as possible. I think a lot of times roles I've played, I really try to like find that relatability between the characters to make it as real as possible. And with Lila, it was almost like I had to really separate the two in order for it to be believable, because it was so different from who I am as a person. And even down to the little things of like her everyday jobs. Like she's a bartender. I've never bartended before. I don't even drink alcohol. I've never done any of that. And so it was like having to research and make it as believable as possible. And so it was really fun to play around with this new idea of this character and acting and bringing her to life. And then I ended up actually having a blast playing her as well, and becoming her, and embracing that like wild, chaotic side of her. I'm a very big overthinker, and so I think to play someone who is not, it was really freeing in a way, and really, really fun to mess around.
That's awesome. Listen, while you don't drink alcohol, somebody on that set has some good taste, because I saw you were pouring a bottle of Blanton's there, and I was like, okay, somebody knows a little something. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find a bottle locally without having to spend $1,000 here. Somebody do a little something there. I definitely want to give everybody an opportunity to talk about the other folks that were involved with this film, your other castmates, the other folks in terms of the production side, because I think especially in a very difficult time right now with the strikes going on and just coming out of the pandemic, independent films are still really struggling to get the exposure that they need. This is why I'm so passionate about watching independent films. This is why it is a pleasure to talk to you two today. But I definitely want to make sure, while others may not be available here, if we could just give us shout outs to other folks that really brought this possible, or folks, or any funny stories that you may even have with some of the folks in terms of the film making. So starting off with you, Isaac, anybody in particular you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Jake Manley did a great job. He was like, he was the backbone of the whole story. But really, all the actors were just wonderful, and it really very, very easy to work with them. I really, I didn't have to spend much time with the actors as much as previous movies that I made, because they all were perfect for the role. They all felt very, very comfortable in front of the camera. And the most interesting part, obviously, is the Chris Elliott part, as far as his career, and where he's playing always like a funny guy in comics. And that's the first time he ever played like a sheriff, a menacing character, and he wanted to do it because he's never done it before, and it was a perfect role for him, because in the beginning of the film he has to be menacing, he has to be dangerous, he has to be like the strong man, and slowly you see the comical part coming out of it, and the transformation of the character into more funny character and comedic. So all the actors were really wonderful, I was blessed to have all of them.
That's awesome. And to you, Sabrina.
Yeah, it's always such a fun dynamic with the cast and crew on set, and this experience was no different. I mean, we really had a blast out there filming, and especially when what you're filming is such a fun, exciting adventure, it kind of bleeds into the behind the scenes as well. And when you're doing night shoots, you kind of get to this level of delirium where you kind of just have to bond, and you have to like have a good time. And especially working with Chris and Jake, they're both so great at what they do. And it was just an honor to be able to work with them. And Chris was hilarious, always brought that comedy to set as well. And you have to admire someone who's always able to put a positive, happy, fun spin on something. And he really did that, and made working on set such a joy to be.
Fantastic. Where was this filmed at? You mentioned night. This is definitely a desert town, so potentially this could be somewhere very cold at night, which makes it challenging. But where exactly was this filmed?
You want me to answer? Okay. The place called Fillmore. Fillmore is in Ventura County, which is like very close to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And we did a lot of scouting, and it was very, very hard to find a time that is frozen, a town that is frozen in time, because they all have like Starbucks and coffee beans and all that stuff. So, believe me, it was very difficult to find.
Yeah.
And so it's called Fillmore, and it's Ventura County, which is near Los Angeles. I don't know if you're familiar with the area. Are you local or you're?
No, I'm based out of Washington D.C., but I frequent in L.A. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's about 45 minutes from L.A. and it's a small town. Actually, they shoot a lot of movies over there because it is like that, frozen in time, and they have a lot of railroads. So most of the TV series, most of the movies that you see that have railroads is shot there. So there's a lot of production there.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to end the interview with a fun question here. Now, granted, an element in the story is discovering Redville and discovering that it may not be so easy to leave this town. For you two, Sabrina and Isaac, if you are leaving Redville just to only discover that you're coming up on a sign that says "Welcome to Redville," what would be your reaction? What would you do? What would you say at that moment? And we'll start with you, Sabrina.
Oh my goodness, that is a great question. I have no idea what I would do. I have like really severe claustrophobia, so I feel like a part of me would 100% panic, as in I can't get out, I can never leave, help. And at that point, I think I would eventually go through the 5 stages of grief. I'd go through them all, and then I'd end up with acceptance and probably end up as Lila, getting a job, being a bartender, and then also causing chaos because that's my only form of entertainment in a town where nothing happens. And that seems to be a little bit of what probably happened.
I said in my notes, it says Lila's the plug. Whatever you need in Redville, pull up the Lila. She got you. All right. Guns, drinks, whatever resources, she got it. She'll get you straight. What about you, Isaac?
Oh, I know exactly what I would do. I'd say, you know what? The hell with it. I'm gonna go get a drink. I'm gonna go to the bar and get a drink.
Sabrina, you were saying something?
If I can get out of it, I'm gonna go get a drink, maybe smoke a cigar, and the hell with it.
Sabrina, you were saying something really quick?
For mentioning that she knows everything that goes on in that town, I would say that even though her dad's the sheriff and all, she kind of runs things a little bit.
Oh,
she's pulling the strings a little bit here and there. So she's fun.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I'm right with you, Isaac. I mean, if it ain't taking the Toni approach of just accepting, like, hey, let's just make the best of this. These folks everyone's happy. Might as well embrace it. I think we all could use a little bit of happiness here. So, but at one way or another, I'll be coming to see Lila to get me a nice Blanton's port neat. Well, listen. This was a pleasure to talk to you two. Wishing you both nothing but success. Not only with Welcome to Redville and the Return to Redville, which I'm just going to just throw that out there, update IMDb. But for all projects to come. I really had a really fun time with this film. But I got to tell you again why I came into the film thinking like, okay, something serious. I love a little crime drama. Like, wait a minute, I don't know if I should be feeling the sense of like confusion, then I'm feeling a little bit happy, then I'm like, oh, this is funny. You get it all, and it's such a fun time. And I one of the biggest things I want to note this film is being refreshing. It's totally different. It's not like something you've seen before, and it's just fantastic acting. Jake is just special in this. Yourself, Sabrina is special. Highdee is special in this. It's just a very, very fun time. So one way or another, we have to do this again, folks, because I'm just going to keep queuing up that sequel. But if it's not until later, this is a fun one. And thank you so much for both of your time today.
Oh, thank you for your time. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Folks, once again, Welcome to Redville. You can check it out. It's releasing August 29th. Show support, show love. Follow them. Keep up with all the updates for not only their upcoming projects, but for this one as well, too. And thank you so much for tuning in to this interview. See you later, folks.